from the BBR studios. It is Line Locked, where we talk about everything racing and a lot of BS.
I love BS.
Do you love BS, really?
Yeah, totally.
What does BS stand for? No, yeah,
bullshit. I got you. It's after 30 seconds.
Jeez, this is episode 16.
1-6.
Yeah,
if we were a kid, we could drive a car.
We could drive a car right now. Yes, that's right. Or lose. No, never mind. Forget about that.
Yeah, let's not go down that road.
We have a exciting show today because one of Corey's favorite cars.
Yeah,
we have the new owner.
Yeah, I'm big jealous.
Yeah, if you know anything about drag racing and
nostalgia
drag racing,
gassers,
yes, exactly. That you might know this car. It is Blue Bayou, beautiful car, and it changed hands within the last couple of years. Is that right?
That was the story.
So we have the new owner on here, Chris Crable, and he's going to talk to us in a
great guest. It'll be fun.
Yeah. We wanted to try something new today, and we call it. I wish I had like one of those little announcement buttons.
Yeah,
but TikTok tragedies.
We're just gonna play a TikTok of a tragedy. Yes. Car related
tragedies. Here we go.
All right, so what are we looking at here? I believe this looks like a Hemi to me, on maybe a 671. That's what you think it is?
Yeah, 671 on a Hemi, and old school dragster. Looks like.
It's got a barn door intake for our injection. I guess it's the old barn door style. It's not like an Enderley. And then it's in a Fed, so front engine dragster.
Yeah, can't tell if this is like in this guy's front yard or if
looks
this
like
is a car show, maybe.
Maybe a car show.
So if he's at a car show, he's like, yeah, man, I'm going to start this thing up and I'm going to show you guys what a real dragster sounds like.
Yeah, well, we're about to find out. We're fixing the fire. I haven't seen this video. Chris has, right?
Yeah, yeah, I've seen it.
Okay, so we're going to hit play and we'll just react and see how this goes.
What you got there, buddy?
Right.
Let's go.
All right, let me make sure this level ain't too hot here.
Whoa. Oh, there's another. Oh.
Ooh, man.
Just snap that puppy right off of that thing.
Holy.
Did the belt hold it back? It looked like it would have shot straight up and it would have gone skyborne, but
maybe we can back it up just a little bit here.
Yeah. That's like slow motion reverse.
Yeah. It's like coming back together now. Let's see. Yeah, the belt is what held it from going everywhere because he doesn't have restraints.
Because his head was right over top of it, I believe.
Yeah.
Or pretty close to it.
He doesn't have restraints on that blower, so this could have been probably a lot worse.
Yeah.
But it probably, to me, it got loaded up with fuel and then an intake valve opened when it wasn't supposed to open, maybe.
Ooh.
Or opened early. Maybe his timing was too advanced. Or
can you go forward to see if he's got all his fingers?
Yeah. No, probably not. his fingers are right down. Could you imagine being that close to that explosion?
Yeah. Exactly.
It almost makes me afraid to start my shit back up.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, dude. That's pretty wild.
I mean, he's lucky. I mean, that could have knocked him out or probably made him not alive.
Well, how about if you guys like that? If you like hearing tragedies or us talking about them, yes. Email us at linelockedpodcast@gmail.com. Send us a link to your favorite TikTok tragedy.
Yeah.
Car related.
That's a great idea, Corey. So send us your videos from TikTok and see we'll put them on here.
Yeah, we'll talk about them. Maybe a couple of them. We'll talk about them. But this is kind of a trial period. Tell us if you like this. This is interesting. That guy is lucky, though. He definitely could have fared a lot worse.
And he's not wearing white New Balance. So.
Yeah. Well, they say mechanical injection, that's required. That's probably why it blew up.
Yeah, probably.
Because as soon as I do any tuning on mine, I got to have my New Balance.
That's right. No, it's cut the yard and then tune your blower.
Yeah. You got to have the grass stained New Balances to do any carb or mechanical injection work.
Well, let's go to the news, man.
Right,
I heard you got a lot of it.
Yeah, let's see.
This is the Line Locked News with your anchor, Corey.
Hey, that's me. All right, so U.S. Street Nationals. Now, this is going to come out at the very tail end, and I apologize. That's just how it's going to work out. But it went on this weekend. If you're watching this on Sunday, they've already probably got the finals done. But if you're watching it and you're interested in what happened or whatever, I just want to tell you, it's a Racing Outlaw Pro Mod presented by Fuel Tech. It's got 48 drivers who will attempt to qualify for $32,000 to win 32-car field. So that means not everybody's going to make it. I heard that the bump spot's probably going to be like 348. Something crazy. Maybe it's going to be low 350s. This is 8th Mile Racing. They also have Pro 275, $15,000 win, and a radio lineup. It's got $10,000 to win, Mickey Thompson, X275, et cetera, 7,500, limited drag radial. It's got everything. So if you haven't watched it, you can go probably on Flow Sports and rewatch. I'm sure there's going to be some videos on YouTube. Look for it. It's going to be cool. But I will tell you what happened this week.
Okay.
Because how we get this all recorded was, you know how we're a record. We're a record. We announce records.
Got to do the records, man.
Yeah, so the last Pro Mod record was Jose Gonzalez, right?
Yes. Yep.
He beat the Pro Mod record. The guy that had it before him decided,
so he had to go back.
He had to go back. But again, we'll talk about that in a second. But during testing of the U.S. Street National, so it's this week, January 23rd, another record breaker Pro Mod. I don't know. Breaker.
Come on, talk
Turbo Todd Moyer runs an impressive 3.492 seconds at 231 miles an hour in the 8th. He led off at the 800-foot mark and still ran a 5:48 in the quarter at only 212. So he let out 800. Yeah, he was getting it. He was after it. He was after it. Well, the next day, a gentleman named Jason Scruggs, he said, nah, hold my beer. So the next day, we're talking the 24th now, at exactly 12:33, because I got the timing slips. They'll be behind me. Jason Scruggs, he runs a 3:46 at 218 in a 69 Camaro bodied Pro Mod.
Wow, he pulled off 300ths off of that.
Yeah, I mean, 3:46, crazy.
Yeah.
But Turbo Todd Moyer, he said, nah. No,
we're not doing that.
Exactly 13:45 or 1:45, about an hour later, Turbo Todd Moyer decides to turn his up a little bit. It goes 3:45 at 2:33.92.
Shoo. They were like, the track can hold it, guys. I know it can hold it.
Yeah. So do we think we're going to see a 44, 43? Here's the problem. All this is done in testing. So
none of it counts?
No, Donald Log says it don't. I don't know. I don't disagree because they're not scaling it afterwards. Yeah. So how can you be sure that they're under the same rules as everybody else?
Yeah, that makes it a tough one.
So as far as I'm concerned, like if you're trying to do one of these big world records for a class, you got to do it in qualifying.
Yeah, but it doesn't change the fact
that he did do it.
That happened. Yeah. That car went that fast.
Well, and honestly, Donald Logg's putting on a race this year. That's you just whatever you bring. There's no weight limits, no nothing, no restrictions on blower pulleys, no restrictions on anything.
So we may see a 3 flat.
Well, Stevie Fast talked about it. 3 flats. Jesus Christ. Stevie Fast talked about it. He thinks he can get a low 340. He built a new car, the Shadow 3.0. I'll put a picture. It's pretty badass. He thinks he can get low 340s. He's a screw blower. Screw blower.
Yeah.
Woo charger, maybe. I don't know. Well, I think his initial one's going to be screw blower. But he thinks he can get low 340s if there's no weight restrictions and no pulley restrictions. So we'll see what happens. I don't know.
I find these times amazing, though. The 349 was at 231, and the 346 was at 218.
Turbo versus a blower.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing how big the difference is in the mile per hour?
Yeah, we could probably go back and forth on the 60 foots, but I'm sure the 60 foots are quite different as well.
Yeah.
You know, turbo, he'll make it up on the big end. You know, the screw blower's going to have that off the line energy.
Yeah.
And then, but that's the cool thing about the turbo. You know, they have so much more horsepower in the top end of things that they can come around you. So, you know, it's impressive. The whole thing's impressive. I don't give a shit how cheap things get. I'll never be able to run a 346 in an 8th mile. It will never be in our lifetime.
You'll be investing in new underwear afterwards if you do.
100%. Unless somebody wants to take me Top Fuel racing, and then we'll try it. I wonder what Top Fuel runs, because I don't really think I've ever looked at their 8th
If I had the money, I'd get in that nitro car, that ride along, just to see.
Larry Dixon, hit your boy up.
Yep.
All right. So I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to get after talking to Chris Crable, the new owner of Blue IU, plus owner of a bunch of cool cars.
Yep.
So you don't want to miss it. Stay right after the commercial break, and we're going to get into talking to him. Okay. And we're back with our special guest.
All right. Chris Crable.
Yeah.
He drives, or is working on, I should say, the Blue Bayou car that we've been talking about on the podcast. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing good, guys. How are y'all?
Not too bad. Chris, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into all these amazing cars, because you got quite a few that we're going to discuss.
I I really, as being younger, my grandfather was a mechanic and always tinkering on cars. And my uncle had a '69 Nova that I thought was the coolest thing in the world, and really kind of took the passion on with them. Truth to be known is, and guy at a very young age, Gary Gross, took me racing with him a couple of times, and I just extremely fell in love with it. What we do, and the people around the track too. It was just great, really great. It's how I kind of got into it. And
drag racing is one of those things that you go there for a short time because it's a weekend or whatever, but you race for a short time, I should say, and then it's the people around it that kind of make it. That makes the fun of it. Because you go out there and break parts. I mean, it's a bad weekend, but you could always cheer up with a couple beers and some buddies. So
yeah, absolutely. Everybody's just cool, cool to hang around with, and always support them, and always want to go faster like every other drag racer.
Oh yeah, it bites you in the ass though.
yeah, it bites you in the ass, 100%.
So your grandpa had a pretty big influence, and he had that '69 Camaro, and then as he got older, I'm assuming you started saving up some money for your first car. What kind of car was that?
It's an '85 Thunderbird. You guys may smile at that.
Wow.
Yeah. I bought it for $500. It was wrecked and brought it home. It had a 6-cylinder in it and a little V6 in it. And we put a 302 in it. And little by little, I changed intakes and bought my first nitrous kit and was ate up with it.
Does it change a man? Does it change a man, the nitrous? That's what I've always heard. It changes a man.
At that time, it was a poor man's way to go fast.
Yeah. Did you do like a little 100 shot, or do you get more brave than that?
I had like 150 on it, and the car went 720s, and I drove to high school every day.
Nice.
Every day.
Nice.
Every day with 720s, yeah. So
I was always told whenever you build a nitrous motor, it's already broke before you get started.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's the truth or not. I've never had one. But
absolutely. A funny story, used to break the it's back outer loop. Being from Kentucky, we raced on outer loop, and it would break the oil pump shaft when you sprayed it, and my grandfather, we'd pull it back in there to get record back in, and he'd be like, boy, you need to take that stuff off that thing, and, I never did.
Breaks the oil pump shaft. I wonder why that would be. Did you ever figure out why?
No, not. Being young and dumb, I put a roller cam in it, didn't change the distributor gear. I had a steel distributor gear instead of bronze distributor gear. I've done I've done everything wrong in drag racing to try to make it right.
You paid your tuition, is what you're saying. That's really
my tuition many times, for sure.
Yeah, we use composite gears now on those guys. Bronze was kind of. I mean, that's definitely the upgrade when you're running roller cam stuff. You got to. But the composites, I found the composites last a lot longer. The downside of it is it eats the distributor up a little bit. So
really?
Yeah, I mean it one side or the other, you're paying money, I suppose. But
sure.
Cool. And then what kind of next car did you have after that one?
After that one, I bought a little Fox body Mustang, and me and a buddy of mine, I kind of took my motor and transmission combination out of it because, buying a Thunderbird, I couldn't afford a Mustang. Let's be honest. So I bought a Mustang, and we messed with it, and I finally probably wanted to go fast.
Yeah, so you saw the light and said, no more of this Mustang stuff, right?
Yeah, I said, man, so much you can squeeze out of a small block Ford.
Yeah, that, you wanted to be a little different because, I assume you go down to Ohio Valley quite often. You're probably pretty close to there, right?
Yeah. We're actually right in between 60 and in the valley, so we go to both of them quite a bit.
Yeah, we go to the Test and Tunes on Wednesdays and Fridays every once in a while, and it's just a sea of Mustangs and any more trucks too. There's a ton of S10s.
S10s, yep.
Yeah, there is a lot of S10s. I agree.
But everybody's got to own at least one Mustang in their lifetime.
I haven't yet.
Fox
body. I lied. I did buy a Mustang for my daughter. She refused to drive, so we sold it. So I have owned a Mustang.
Yes. Yeah,
I forgot. It's canary yellow.
Canary yellow, yeah.
It was. I think it was like an 02 or 03 or something. I don't know. But yeah, she just refused to drive it. She said she wouldn't drive a Mustang. And to be honest with you, I was kind of proud of her for put her foot down. I just got such a good deal on it. I couldn't pass it up. But cool, man. So you got out of the Mustang, and what are we getting into next?
First real drag car that I had was my Chevelle, which. Man, when I bought that car, I honestly had like $600 to my name when I purchased that car after the purchase of that car.
Yeah.
And we bracket raced it a little bit. First real I bought the car rolling, then I turned around, and 6-8 months later, I bought the motor and transmission to come out of the car because I couldn't afford the car, turnkey.
Right.
So saved up some money, did some wheeling and dealing, and bought the motor combination that was in the car, and we bracket raced it and loved it. And I was so proud of it. I mean, at that time, I think I gave like $8,000 for the car, rolling. I had $12,000 in it turnkey, and we raced it. We raced it a lot. We raced, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday the 60, and Saturday at the Valley, and then Sunday at Bowling Green. So we had a lot of passes put underneath that car, and finally took it apart and made it what it is today.
So it's funny that you said after you purchased it, you had like $6 to your name. I feel like this might be a reoccurring event in your life because by the amount of cars you have here, I mean, you've driven a lot, you've had a lot, and some really nice stuff that we'll get to here very shortly. But I bet that's got to be, and that goes back to the saying is, it doesn't matter how much money you make, you're going to see all of it. I mean, that's just how it is.
Sure.
When you're talking
Absolutely.
racing.
Yeah. If you love cars, you'll keep doing it over and over.
Oh yeah. You don't learn. you just keep sinking more money into it to hope to go faster, and sometimes slower.
Yeah.
Because we've done that before.
Yeah, if you love cars, you got to also love ramen noodles, because that's basically the way it works.
You got to poor man's dinner.
Yep.
And at least in my case, and I'm sure with your case too, your family's got to be willing to sacrifice themselves a little bit too, because we don't have the nicest of house.
Yeah. Nice garage, just not nice house.
Yeah. And when you load it when you're broke, you're probably not in the best mood whatsoever.
Oh yeah.
You're riding all the way home, not talking to each other.
Usually the first night for me isn't that bad. Like I'm almost kind of excited to see the damage and I did something that I'm going to learn from it. But usually the next day when I actually start calculating the cost, that's when it's usually and until it gets fixed, I'm pretty much in a bad mood. It's tough to get out of that. Yeah, for sure. But it's cool to have a car, especially $8,000 for a car, and then you could race it 3 days a week. I mean, I bet out of all the vehicles you had, that's probably the one. I mean, I don't know. We're going to get into future ones, but that's probably one that you probably have more passes on than any, right? Because 100%, and that's what trying to drill into a lot of guys. It's a lot more fun to have a cheap car, 100% of the time. I mean, you spend so much money to go so much faster, which is less time on the track, and then it's also less. You got to maintain that, and when you're changing bearings or distributors or jets or whatever else, you just don't get as much time on the track, so I would much rather and we've been talking, me and Chris have been talking about trying to find something a little cheaper that would fit the rules for Straight Ox Mafia, and then just go back and forth as drivers, just playing around with it, so we could go get some laps when we mainly race 6 big races a year and maybe 1 or 2 small ones. So we don't really get that much track time, and it would be nice to have a cheaper one. So what you got for sale for me here, huh? Let's wheel and deal.
Nothing right now. As older I've gotten, we all go through that I bought something and sold it and regretted that I sold it.
Yeah.
I've actually had the opportunity to buy most of the stuff back that I've sold, but right now I just want to hold on to what I have. I'm kind of getting that old guy scenario that I just keep it.
Yep.
I think I sometimes enjoy just it being in the garage versus in somebody else's hands.
No, sir, that's not for sale. I'm going to restore it one of these days. Some bitches on cinder blocks out front.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of these days I'm going to get around to it.
Yeah, for sure.
So after that car, what do we got next? Because we've got quite a few pictures. There's some of them I really want to get in and talk to, but there's some of them that, it's tough to, you've probably been through a few. So do you remember the next one?
Guys, I'm gonna be honest with you. After that one, I got into wheeling and dealing and trading on cars, and I would take a motor. The reason I got to going, I don't want to say fast, but faster, is I'd buy a car, rob the motor, put a 60 over big block in it, and take the good motor and stick it in my car to go a little faster.
Yeah.
To have a spare, so on and so forth. So, truthfully, to tell you, the next one, it's a little bit of a blur for 10 years there, because I probably went through 100 cars, honestly.
Wow.
Yeah. So, let's talk about you have a 3100 truck, not a drag truck, just a nice little truck. And I really like the look of it. Let's talk about that one a little bit. What do you got in that?
It's got a 6.0 in it.
Yeah.
That's the coolest truck. I'm gonna be honest with you. The wife and family love that truck. That's a turnkey, get in and cruise to the show or whatever the case might be and do whatever you want to with it. And I always wanted one because I love that's. So I was asking about your truck. I love those trucks. I just think they're so cool. And reverting back to my grandfather, he had one in the 50s with a cigarette pack rolled up in his sleeve. Got a picture of it. You know what I mean? That was like had 327-minute kind of thing. And I always wanted one of them. And that truck's honest.
Mine was a lot like that prior to me being retarded and making it a race truck. It was just a fun little cruise around car or truck, and it, I enjoyed that. But I'm not good at sitting. So if I'm like going to a car show, it's just like I'm literally there for 5 minutes and I want to go do something else. So I never really got into that whole scene of it. There's plenty of people that do. My dad loves it. He go to a car show and he'll sit there 8 hours. But I guess if you give it time and you develop friendships, that may be the same thing as the drag strip. Probably cheaper too. But it's a really clean truck. You got some really nice wheels on it. Is it like Kragers or something?
Yeah, it's got a set of Kragers on it. It's like I said again. It's probably one of the vehicles that I have. You hit it, you hit the key, and you can take it to Nashville. You know what I mean?
Fuel injection 6.0.
Yeah, fuel injected 6.0.
4L80E or 6 or something.
4L80. Yep, exactly what's in it. We put air conditioning stuff on it. It looks rough on the outside, but it's actually a pretty good truck. For the most part, internal parts wise, and it's a good driver. We're not big car show people ourselves, to be honest with you. We're kind of built like you.
Yeah.
We ain't into, sitting, but we'll take it and go eat breakfast.
Yeah.
So we'll take it, drive it, Hot Rod Reunion. We've took it to Hot Rod Reunion so many times. It's pretty cool to ride around Hot Rod Reunion with the air on.
Yeah. Well, my dad has the same side. He's got the same 3100 series truck. He's driving it down to this reunion. Well, what is it called now? Nostalgia Nationals? Whatever that's called now. But he'll be down there with us. So, and his truck looks similar to mine, just not raced. So it'll be cool to have him down there with us and be able to, drive around with that truck too. It'd be cool. Now there was another 3100. I don't know if it's the same one that maybe you did some paint work to. There's one that had your logo on the side. I think, not your logo.
We logoed it to my grandfather's service trucks.
Okay.
So the DNL tire and stuff on the side of it, we kind of logoed it to image that and the 24-hour roadside service and stuff that was put on it.
Gotcha.
So we kind of logoed it to that just as a memory. And we love that truck as far as like, ain't nothing better than having that's why I love the gasser stuff, to be honest with you, which blue's a lot different, but a truck that you're not worried about scratching the paint.
Oh, 100%. That is exactly why I kept mine the way it is. It actually had a relatively decent paint job when I bought it. All I needed to do was clear it, and it looked just perfect. But I decided to let it sit outside for a number of years to get weathered out, just so you wouldn't have to worry about it. It's probably the opposite of what you really want to do to a car, but it works for me, and I cleared over top of that, and I'm not worried about it at all, especially with racing. You're going to get scratched. I mean, getting in and out of trailers, it's going to get scratched. There's just not a whole lot you can do about it. So, it is what it is. I really like that truck, and it's a very pretty truck, and it's cool that you just drive it around, man.
Yeah, we do.
Cool. All right, so what we got? Do we have what was that, Chris?
That's a Chevy too. It's behind his head too. Look at that. He's got the picture behind his head.
Yeah, same.
Is that about a 66 or 67?
It's a 66, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Tell us about that one.
That's probably the funnest car we own because we drag the bumper and we treat that car. I'm gonna tell you, if I've had a bad day, that car takes every piece of what.
It reminds me. Have you ever heard the story about how you're supposed to drive a 2-stroke diesel Jimmy motor? Have you ever heard that you're supposed to slam your hand in the door so that you're in the right mindset to drive it?
Yeah, absolutely. That car, we've had so much fun with that car. The whole family, to be honest, they love that car. As far as like, I have had it everywhere. Got a bunch of passes, and we started dragging the bumper on it, and I haven't stopped. And everybody's like, "Man, you gonna drag the bumper today?" And I'm like, "No, not today, because I don't want to bend the axle." And
yeah, you do it everywhere.
Yep.
I tell you, big long smoky burnouts. You can treat that car.
Is it a 4-speed or is it an automatic?
No, it's automatic. It's automatic. Got a 388 in it. It's had a big block in it. It's had every motor combination thrown down its throat you could possibly think of, and it keeps taking it. I just can't.
Yeah.
You ever built a car and you're just shocked at like
what it's about? Yeah.
Like it keeps doing what it's doing. You know.
Yeah. That's cool.
With the big block in it, what I'm usually will change motors throughout the year. With the big block in it, it wheelies out a little better, and when you shift it, it stays in the air. You know what I mean? A little farther. with the small block in it. It'll still wheelie like it is behind me right now. But when you shift it, it wants to fall out of the air a little bit more, a little harder on parts.
Yeah,
So
well, I'd be more worried about the front axle than I am the rear axle.
I have bent it and broke it and done everything. Ron Pope has built me several axles, gun drill axles, 50 millimeter gun drill axles and stuff for it. And we bent them and broke them, and we've done everything to that car. I've hit the guardrail in that car. I've had a lot of fun, true fun with that car.
Yeah.
Now, not to go anything against Mr. Pope, you have working for or getting you to axles, but I heard there was a company in Ohio that builds them. Supposedly you can't bend them. The guys that, the gasser, the green gasser that does all the wheel stands and stuff. Somebody was telling me that he had gotten something made in Ohio that was supposedly crazy strong. Now he just uses it's a straight axle though, or not straight, like a tubed axle. So maybe that's the ticket. I don't know, but man, coming down, that looks to me, that's probably every bit of 6 foot. When you come down on it.
I think I sent you a picture, Corey, that I've had it to where it's riding down the track, literally with all 4 tires off the ground. and when I let go of the trans brake, when I say I put it on the floorboard and grab the trans brake, I put it on the floorboard and I grab the trans brake. You know what I mean? Whatever happens.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. Yep. Yeah, we got it. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So we've definitely have treated that car pretty badly, but we love her. You know what I mean? She's been a good piece. But yeah, I'd love to find somebody to build an axle.
I'll see.
Does a great job.
I'll see if I can find where they were talking about it. See, when we got into this, I was actually going to build a 55 gasser because of Blue by You, and I had started sourcing parts, and that was one thing that I wanted to do was drag the bumper, similar to what that. What was that? Mike Bublé or something?
I was actually going to look his name up here.
I forget the name of him, but I wanted to build something like that just for fun, you know? And so I was trying to source some parts, and that was one question I had is how durable are these front axles? So I may actually have it linked on my computer. If I can find it, I'll send it to you. But supposedly, whatever they're doing, it's like real thick tubing. They'd gusset it somehow to keep it from bending up as easy, I guess.
I have a chrome moly axle for the car that we've contemplated on putting in it, but I've heard the story of like a chrome moly brake.
Yeah, it'll just snap. I would rather it bend than snap.
So all my axles is bent, which has been drivable. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of worried about. Ron built me one, and I'm just kind of always been kind of worried about putting that axle in the car.
I personally, just from a builder standpoint, I wouldn't do it. Just you got to have some compliance there. If there is none, it's just going to completely break off. And chrome moly that's what it's designed to do, is to have less compliance. But I don't know. I've never done it, so I don't want to give you false hope or nothing like that. That's what I would guess would be happen. You would land on it and you'd lose a wheel. One would just be gone.
The car's the body on it's pretty rough, but the car's in pretty nice car if you took the body off of it and threw it away. You know what I mean?
The guy's name is Mike Bellina.
I always say Bublé for some reason.
Yeah, I know. I always think that too. But the thing about it is, I've noticed over the past couple of years of seeing him race that now he's got his trunks and his doors loose.
Yeah, so they just flop.
So everything just kind of flies open.
Have you ever met him?
I have. I think he's like a retired
Chicago cop.
Retired cop or something.
Yeah, he is an interesting guy, man. He's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
he is a lot of fun. That's cool.
Of fun.
There was one other car that's not a race car that you sent me. It's a black truck, like a box, or what do you call them? Box?
Yeah, long bed Chevy. Yep.
Yeah, like a C10 or something like that. Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
So the story on that truck, my grandfather bought it brand new from B.B. Cook Chevrolet in 1975. Factory big block, factory air truck. I drug it out of the garage, and I learned to drive in that truck. Like I sit in the seat, stood up as a 4-year-old kid and learned to drive in that truck. So that truck's got a very special place in my heart. And we hauled cattle with it. We added it up. My grandparents got a farm in E-Town and drove to Louisville. That truck's got over 1 million miles. It's got over 1 million miles. It's had the engine rebuilt several times.
Say a few.
Being a big block, but that truck is definitely probably the coolest piece, most sentimental piece that I had at my house.
Is that a 4-wheel drive truck?
No, it's 2-wheel drive. 2-wheel drive. And everybody's told me, said, man, who would put that kind of money in a long bed 2-wheel drive Cheyenne? I said, me.
This guy.
This guy.
Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a long bed. It was newer than that one. I had like a 91 long bed. And the only reason I had it's because I got it hand me down somehow. I drove the hell out of that thing. I had 270,000 miles on it before I traded it in.
Yeah.
It was a decent truck. Nothing bad truck.
Yeah, that wasn't even a drag truck, and the doors just flew open, didn't it?
It wasn't great. Headliner was on my forehead most of the time going down the road. No AC.
Yeah. Another story, like that truck was totaled. Actually, my grandmother was kind of hurt a little bit in it, and it was totaled at one time. And my grandfather bought it back from the insurance company, and like that thing, he drove it from 75 to 1995 till he bought another truck.
Wow.
And if he's seen the trucks that I have, which he's passed away now, but if he's seen the trucks I had here, he'd be like, why you need all them trucks? You got one truck to do everything, you know? And when we drug it out of the barn and started working on it, Mike Lowhorn really helped me tremendously on the paint and stuff. He did a great job. You know, and when I say it's the only thing in my life that I really spent whatever it took to get it done kind of deal. You ever been there before where you saved up and you're like, you know what, this one here, I'm doing it right. I didn't shortchange anything on the truck, and we love it. I hope it to be passed down through the family throughout the years.
Now the Lawhorn, he has a car too, right? Tin Man.
Yeah, Adam does. Yep.
Yeah, that was a cool car. It was a Nova or something, right? Or a Falcon? I can't remember which one it was.
Falcon. Yep,
Falcon.
Falcon.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was a really cool wheel stander. I've met him.
Yeah,
a couple times.
they're both him and his dad, both Adam and Mike, both are good people. Really good people.
Good deal. All right, so there was the next one we found up here. I believe it's a 55, but sometimes I can mistake it because it doesn't have the trim. It's the green one, the green and rusty one.
Yeah, so I built that for my wife. We bought it out of Cincinnati. We bought that car out of Cincinnati, or Missouri. I'm sorry, out of Missouri. Had it brung here. The guy brung it to me. I'll be honest with you. It was like a Friday night deal, and I was in one of the moods, and he was like, man, I'll deliver it to you. And I was like, okay. You know what I mean? He brought it to me, and we cut it apart as well, and changed motor and rear end. And Rick Fuller at R&R Chassis did all the rear end. Same with my Nova. Rick Fuller's done. He's been a family friend for years. They did all the rear end setup and stuff on it, and it's been a cool piece, really cool piece. Yeah, and she comes from a family. My wife does of drag racing as well.
Man, that's cool. I bet that's a lot of fun. And her taking interest like that heavy is really cool. Does got a big block in a small block?
No, it's got small block, and I know that was the original paint scheme that was on it, so we didn't change it. But yeah, it's got a little 400 in it right now. So,
does she? Do you take it like the Street Knocks Mafia stuff? Let her.
Yeah, we have several times. It's hard. I mean, as you guys know, it's hard to take 2 or 3 cars at one time, and everybody begs to bring that car at every one of the Mafia races. You follow what I'm saying?
Oh, I understand.
Yeah, we have the most fun with that car because we treat it like trash. So that's the one that gets loaded in the trailer probably, 7 out of 10 times. But yeah, we've had it out several times.
Yeah, and then the one that we're going to talk about last is Blue By, and that would fit all the rules. But man, you probably don't want to hurt it. You probably don't want to do the same kind of work that you do.
It's hard to index a car like that. A blown out conjected car. It's hard to. It's hard to index a car like that, and a lot of our tracks and stuff. Not to say they can't hold the power, like it's got stream power, but it being all aluminum motor and stuff. I try to only bring it out, selective times a year.
Yeah, we'll talk about it here in a second. We'll make sure there's no other cars. Before we got a Camaro. It's like a nice little. Is a
68 or 67?
Yeah.
8. Yeah, it's an 8.
Yep.
Yeah, 68 Camaro. Yeah.
Really pretty car. What color is that? It's not like a baby blue, but it's
they call it Marina Blue.
Marina Blue. It's a very pretty car too.
Yeah, Marina Blue car. So yeah, we have a good time with it. We get it out, and I know we got these cars. And you think we're car show people? We're not. We'll get them out and just go. We'll get them out and go eat dinner. Get pizza. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That thing.
Well, it's just cool that you can. Well, let's take this tonight. I think it's cool. And I respect you for it. That's pretty neat. But the car behind that one in this picture is the one I really want to get to. Well, so I think we've through them all.
What's the white one? Is that
That's my daughter's Chevy 2.
Chevy? Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah. So my daughter, she's 19. She junior drag raced the whole 9 yards, and probably one of my biggest fans.
Yeah,
good.
She's if I was racing, she was sitting in the passenger seat of the door. You know what I mean? At all times.
How well did she do in the junior stuff?
She did really good. She actually did, and she loved it. She was very competitive in it, and so on and so forth. So, and she's always been like, she took that car again down the track for the first time after I got it built, and I was like, "Hey, make an easy pass on it." And she went like a 683, and I was like, I remember being like so mad, like I said, easy. You know what I mean?
That's funny.
She was like 15. Of course, at Hardenberg, you could do that. You know, she's 15 years old. 680s. I was like, you know,
That's
but
something.
So we bought that car and built it for her, and she'll take it to the track by herself. She's got that independence going on right now at 19. So
cool. I have a almost 16-year-old, and I tried to get her involved with the junior stuff. Like a lot of tracks we go to, they'll have a junior program race before or after us or something, you know, depending on the track. And I always thought it would be so fun to be the crew chief of one, you know, and then have that experience with your kid. So I bet that was fun. I bet you wouldn't give that up for nothing, you know.
I wouldn't give that up for nothing, but I'm going to tell you guys something. Working on one of them, I would rather tear a big block apart all day long.
Yeah.
That was the tedious little bastard to, you know what I mean?
It's like a little Briggs motor, right?
Oh, yeah, and you're working on it for your kids. So you got to remember, you know what I mean? You're like trying your damnedest to make sure it does as best as it possibly, way more than you would do for yourself, you know?
You can't get yourself embarrassed.
Yeah, it'd run 2 numbers off, and it's like, Dad, you messed up my carburetor. And I'm like, I'm trying, you know what I mean?
Yeah. They get into it. Some of the ones we go to, the more competitive or the bigger races that we go to, that they'll bring out, they'll have stacker trailers for these things. I don't know if you've ever ran across any of those, but they'll have tire warmers on it all the way up to the, you know, right up to the burnout box, take those things off, and they get really competitive with it. I think I think it'd be a lot of fun. We have some friends that are part of our team. They ran some kids through it as well, and they said that was some of the most fun they've had. But also towards the end of it, it got so competitive that it almost became a little less fun because, you know, it was more cutthroat, and, you know, you had the drama between parents. The kids were all cool with each other for the most part. It was just that drama. I don't know if I could ever compete at that level, but it sounds like a hell of a lot of good time. And it's cool that she
definitely, you know, one advice I will give, whether, you know, how competitive you are or not, it gave like my daughter, she had to make good grades to run her junior. It gave them some responsibility. You know what I mean? So that was a good thing.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's take the main course here. Let's talk about the car you stole from me. Blue by You. So I'll tell you this. This came up for sale on Facebook. I don't know this had to have been 7 years ago, maybe 8, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I think it was in 2020.
Oh, 2020. So you got it after the first time it got sold then.
Yeah, so
you didn't buy it from the original guy.
So Steve Cook owned the car. Mm-hmm. He sold it to a guy, Jim Churchick. Okay. And that was a silent sale from what I know. You follow what I'm saying? That was like,
so he had it posted because the only reason I know this is when I saw it posted, I was trying to figure out how to get the money, and then it got sold out. But that was more than 2020 ago. That had to have been 6 years, 7 years ago. I thought. I could be totally wrong, but
you may be correct. You may be correct. I seen it when Jim Churchick, and I know he never raced it. I'm the only other driver that's been down the track in the car besides Steve Cook.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. That's it, just me and him. So he sold it to Jim Churchick. Jim Churchick had the car for like a year or two. And then I was sitting at a restaurant, and like literally, guys, I popped on Facebook and I seen it pop up, and I was like, from the day I seen that car, I wanted that car so bad. Like
100%.
Really wanted that car, like refinance the house, kind of want that car.
No, that's exactly what I was trying to do before it got sold. I was telling my wife this was happening. I didn't care what she said. Absolutely. We don't actually have to put any numbers on it, but for my program, it was refinancing the house to afford it. They were wanting a lot for it when I believe it was Steve that was selling it. I'm almost 100% sure before Jim got a hold of it. I could be 100% wrong on my recollection, but that's how I remember it going down, because it was before I started racing my truck, and I started racing my truck in 19. So, you know, it has to be before that. But they were. Yeah,
you may have caught it in between the two. You know.
Yeah, somewhere right there, and it literally. As soon as I saw that, I was thinking of anything I could sell, anything I could refinance, rental properties, whatever. Because I was going to buy that damn car. And so about 2 weeks went by, and then the listing went away. And I was like, because I was making phone calls trying to figure out how to get this thing. It is one of my favorite cars, and probably the biggest reason that I went to nostalgia racing was because of that. We went down to Hot Rod Nationals, or a reunion, I should say. I just mixed them both together. Did you see that?
You mashed them.
And me and my dad and brother would go down there, and that was probably around 13, 14-ish.
Yep.
And he was racing it down there with Scott's rods. And it's something about that car. I don't know what it is. It's just everything was done perfect. It just,
and run to the fence kind of car. Yeah. Like I've been around cars all my life. Big horsepower cars, not that I've owned any, but I'm just saying, been around cars all my life. In same boat, man. I ran to the fence to see that car run.
100%. And it had a distinct sound similar to my truck, where you knew it was that car. I mean, there's no other car that sounds that way. Especially a collector car, blown collective car, it's a different sound than a Zoomy. And most of the guys that have big blowers like that, a lot of them have Zoomies. So, there's just very few. And it had that nice blower surge, which I can't get rid of, so I'm just keeping it. I'm just
we're not getting rid of it. We love it.
Yeah, I love it until it comes time to stage, and I've gotten a grasp on it. I figured out how to do it, but it's a lot more effort, and I can't be as consistent as if I could get that thing smoothed out. But there's other reasons that I can't. Partly, we'll go into that here in a minute. But what kind of engine it was? I know it's a blown alcohol motor. Was it big block?
Yeah, it's a 377 Donovan. That's what's in it.
Oh, really nice big block then. Yeah. So aluminum. What cubic inch?
It's actually a small block. 377. Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, what cubic inch?
377.
377. That's what
he just said.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm staring at a car that I love. I'm not even paying attention to Chris at this point. It's similar. Like my eyes are up here.
Yeah.
But no, it's the same size, about the same size motor as Levi, our last guest. I think it was 372.
72, yeah.
Yeah, I have a 421 small block, but it's steel,
Yeah.
Does it have it has a radiator, right?
Nope.
No radiator, so fill block. Wow, man, that's so cool. And are you? I don't know if you're trying to no time raise this. What kind of times you running an eighth?
I've been a 550. Yeah, 551 is what I've been in it. Yeah, and it's with the with a 55 tooth on it. A 52 tooth, the car's like wicked. You know what I mean? Yeah. I've never tried to push the car because I got a lot of money, in it.
Oh yeah.
So I've tried not to push the car as far as it could go. Where Steve could, Steve had so much time. Yeah, he had so much time in that car. So we're still kind of honestly after a couple of years, I'm still kind of, being cautious and figuring things out without hurting the motor and so on and so forth.
One thing that people, when they 550s by all accounts is fast. Yeah, no doubt. And I kind of want to get a grudge race going with you because I run similar numbers. But people don't realize how fast things happen in the first 60 foot. If there's like a little drip of oil that causes one tire to turn, especially with the blown motor and stuff, the amount of time you have to react is very little, and you could easily wad such a beautiful car up, and you would just be sick for sure. But go ahead.
I've told everybody about. I've had turbo cars, I've had nitrous cars, I've had natural aspirated cars, so on and so forth. And Corey, you're going to understand exactly what I'm saying. This thing is like driving a light switch. I've had some. I remember when I first started driving it, people was like, "Well, just roll into the throttle." I'm like, "You crack the butterflies, it's there." Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? There's no ease into the throttle, roll into the throttle. When she's like, as soon as you crack the throttle, it's like, wow.
Yeah. So I'm assuming I assume it's got like a cube, an Enderley cube bypass, or what is that damn thing called?
I don't know what you're talking about.
The block.
The
barrel valve. There you go. Sorry. I'm again, eyes up here. I probably need to just turn that picture off so I can actually focus. If you either that or you have a K valve, one of the two. But there's no part throttle. Now people can claim that they can do part throttle, but their motors aren't fully max tuned. They're just when it's max tuned, I don't know how you would possibly get part throttle response for it at all. And you're exactly right. You're either all in or you're rattling your brains out trying to trying to just keep it going at some kind of speed. It's just crazy.
And if you burp them and carry on with them being blown like that, man, they're not as friendly when you start burping on the throttle and back and forth. They get very upset very fast, you know. So you got to kind of be, like you said, all in or all out with it. You know?
We when I don't know what kind of stall you're running, but my stall converter it's a little tight for a blower motor, so I don't really have to give it much. Once I give it one little rump, it'll go on its own and it'll just keep surging forward, and that's fine. I don't know how you operate yours, but that's how I got mine going. I couldn't imagine if you had a really high stall what that would be like. I don't know how you'd get it down the pit lanes. It would be rough. But what size blowers on that?
It's an 871. It's a Littlefield 871.
Okay. Man, we got really similar setups. Mm-hmm. I think we should grade race. Where are you going to be at?
Anywhere you want to be.
Well, we won't lock something in on this podcast, but we are going to stay in touch. We're going to figure out sometime this year. We'll grade race them. We'll put a little money up, maybe a little pride. But I'll tell you, I haven't been 551, so right now you got me. So I'm gonna be hella tree. Now you willing to do Pro Tree with it, or do you have to do? Okay.
Oh yeah, I'd rather do it anyways because it's gets the ambition out of you. Because when I'm waiting on that light to drop down,
We went straight to Pro Tree. We never did any bracket stuff. I mean, I won a bracket race, the Wally, but that was to be quite honest with you, it was a lot of luck, because when your car's set up for Pro Tree, you almost have to like time out 100th of a second after that last light drops to be able to get it. But yeah, it's cool. What else we got about this Blue Bayou? Is it just a normal 850 cage, or does it have a dragster hoop and stuff in it? I can't remember.
It's got a hoop. Yeah, it's got a hoop and everything, down bars and everything. Yeah, and it's got a passenger seat. It's got a double funny car cage, which is pretty cool when you open the door on it.
Really?
Like it's got a funny car cage on the passenger side and on the driver's side.
Well, you remember there's videos of Mr. Cook riding with his wife in there.
Yeah, I've never seen those videos.
Yeah, I remember watching those. That's how I got to know Blue Bayou, is the videos he had posted online. I thought it was pretty cool that his wife would get in there and you can, even though she had a helmet and everything on, you could tell she was kind of like scared to death to be in there.
I guarantee it. Yeah. Is there any what kind of rear end is in it?
It's got a 9-inch.
Very similar. The only thing different is the body. How much it weigh? Do you know?
I think she weighs about 3,400.
Hey, this is the perfect race. I mean, it's more of like a pro street style truck versus a gas or car. But I think it would be a cool little. It'd be a cool little
Chris, I think you need to make that happen because this is going to be like his all-time fantasy right here.
Dude, I would, because before I lost track of where it went. And the only reason I knew that you had purchased it is I saw a couple years ago. I guess the timeline's lining up now, because I remember a couple years ago when you got it. You were going to take it to the track, but I guess you don't have a whole lot of experience with blown alcohol motors. So some guys are going to, I remember them posting, they're going to help you out figuring out how to get it down track. Yeah. And
David Nee, the guy, was actually the crew chief for when Steve owned it. I got in touch with him and he come help me like hands over, like loved it. He said, I called him on the phone and, he's kind of rigid kind of guy. And he's like, well, my DNA's on that car, so yeah, I guess I'll help you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So have you started learning yourself how to tune it for weather and all that?
Yeah, I have a little bit. I don't want to lie to you guys. Knee's always a phone call away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I did sit here and BS y'all that I'm some major blown out call tuner. Alky Diggers done pretty good. Helped me out a little bit.
We use their products a lot. Them and good vibrations. You mentioned that it's not a great bracket car, and I don't disagree with you, but I will show you. I have back-to-back runs. I had a 008 and 009. I figured it out in a quarter mile.
Did you really?
Yeah, it's to me, it's not as finicky in weather. Like from weekend to weekend, it is. Trying to get your initial numbers in qualifying sucks, but once you get the car where you need it, even a pretty huge swing on weather that weekend, I've figured it out.
Yeah.
My biggest issue is traction, which you have a lot better setup for that, but you can transfer the weight. My truck sits so low, I have a hard time trying to get weight on the rear tires. So I instead of the 10.5 wides, which I'm assuming that's probably what you got there, 10.5 wides.
Yeah.
I got what is those 17s? I'm adding a third wheel to my truck. That's what I'm doing. Right. Yeah. I'm over it. I'm tired of spinning on the line because, like you said, the track has to be there. And if some of those tracks that the Straight Axle Mafia go to, some of them I doubt are 100. You got to have the best. I mean, it's got to be glued right before.
Yeah, for sure. And and when you take a car like that to the track too, hey, we love blue with all our heart, but you spend a weekend of pulling it back from the finish line. You spend a weekend of when you take a car again like that one, you
drive
pull up, shut it off, and you wait for the next round. You know what I mean? So
and without having a radiator, there's a lot of work you got to do, and and most of the time if you're trying to run it like that, you probably can't run it by yourself. You're gonna have somebody else there with you.
No. Again, my wife and my daughter was kind of crazy. I run with a female crew behind me is what I run with.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
They get me in a groove, point me in the right direction, and she jumps on a four-wheeler and hauls ass and gets me.
The last time I had a female crew, I won a Wally.
Yeah, it's true.
Because it was only my wife and daughter there that day that I won that. So that was pretty cool. My brother couldn't make it.
No, I was there the day before.
You were.
Hey, I got to give them one thing, to be honest with you. They're pretty adamant on me about, did you check this? Did you check that? And how sometimes you're like, yes, for the third time.
Yeah. Well, as a driver, you can get tunnel vision and not really see what needs to be. And you need to have people that support you behind you like that, for sure.
Sure.
And it's great that it's your family doing it. That makes it even better.
Yeah. We run as me and my brother. My dad, he comes and helps with tires and any other miscellaneous stuff. And then we got a camera guy, our cousin,
nephew.
A nephew. I don't know why I call cousin, but nonetheless, it's a big family operation over here for sure. Cool, man. I would say I'm jealous, but I feel like the car's in good hands, and I'm gonna go ahead and second mortgage my house just to have the money ready, just in case. I just set it back there.
Unfortunately, man, it'll probably be at my estate.
Yeah.
No, that car she's in a heated garage night with a cover over top of it. She ain't where you got to think about it, guys. I'm 40. I'll be 41 next month, and 20 years from now, what are we gonna think about that car? And then the other old nostalgic cars, racing with the Mafia and hanging with them guys, like, man, that's cool. That's where it's at.
Well, it's just it's the best. Now I tell you, Shane Lyle, I love his car too. It's got a similar thing to it, but it Blue Bayou, it kissed me first. Just something about it. Now I tell you, our cars, they're outside dogs.
Yeah.
They're covered in an unheated barn.
Yeah.
Halfway covered.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. Man, Blue's just a part of the family. And the truth be known is, I'm gonna tell you what's crazy about that car. We've always said she has her own identity. Mm-hmm. Like when I've never took a car to the track ever in my life so many times that people just flock to it, like literally flock to it. And they're like, man, you did this and you did that. And I'm like, no, I didn't build the car. I don't want to take any credit for that. I didn't build the car. I'm just the nut behind the wheel that's trying to keep it straight.
And that is the downside of being the wheeler dealer, is you kind of you don't have the time to inherit. You don't have the time to build your own like that. You have to kind of inherit it from others. And we're on the opposite side of that. We don't have the wheeling and dealing aspect. We would lose our ass every time. We would end up with a Pinto.
Yeah, probably.
If we tried trading enough, we would just end up downgrading each time.
Yep.
So the only thing we can do is just make our stuff nicer and better.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. It's been a great conversation. And again, love that car. I love all your cars. I think all of them are awesome. I'm jealous of all that. But, maybe one day. Maybe this whole YouTube thing takes off. We'll buy a car out of it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool that y'all doing the YouTube thing and everything. Just shooting a breeze. Everybody was like, I had a couple people asking me, "You nervous?" I'm like, "Oh man, it's just some guys shooting a breeze about a car."
Yeah, that's all it is.
So let everybody know. This is not a bad thing. It's just we're just talking. Right? So if anybody else wants to come on, or if you got a friend to suggest, man, throw it out there. We just like talking cars, and we like talking about cool stuff. I mean, that's all it is. Drag racing. Yeah. We would like to branch out into like other types of racing, but to be quite honest with you, I think we already crossed that bridge. We're not going. It's going to be drag racing.
We've tried talking about NASCAR and stuff like that. It doesn't seem to work.
And I just stumble all over my words because I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool, man. We appreciate you coming on, and keep that car nice and waxed up.
Yeah. Well, before you go though, is there anybody you'd like to thank or anything, or sponsors or anything?
Well, most off, I want to thank my family, my wife, and my girls, 100%. They always support me when I drag them down the road, to the next race or whatever the case might be, for sure. I want to thank, y'all gonna laugh, but Advanced Mechanical, it's helped support this, this drug of a habit, as I call it. With Blue, I want to thank David Nee and Steve Cook. They're good people. Really good people to help you out. Ray Cook from Stones and Woodstock helped build that car. You know what I mean? That's cool. Old school guys. Like when that car was built, guys, it was built by some guys that are in their 80s now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So really knew the nostalgic behind the car 100%. I want to thank my cage work, Next Motorsports in Grayson County. They do all my cage work and stuff. Great job. Great. Done me really good. And most of all, I guess we got to thank the good Lord, that we're here and able to do this, every day and have fun with it, hang out with good people, guys like you all, and just got a passion for it. We're not making money at this, guys. Y'all know that. Everybody knows that.
We made $2.34 this week. Yeah. I don't know about you.
Yeah. So we're spending money to hang out with good people and good friends and having a good time with each other. And I hope that the generations behind us really keep this going.
Yeah.
We need it, we need it.
Yeah. And, you got your daughter. She's in that generation coming up. They're there. We got to show them how good a time this is, and bringing her around and bringing hopefully my daughter and get involved at some point around. It'll be there. This is not a dying sport. It isn't. Now the what they are interested in might be different. We're probably too young to really like the nostalgia style of stuff, but something caught our eye, something can catch their eye too. So
Sure.
It's super cool. Again, go ahead.
If you guys get the chance, though, man, build a car and hang out with the Mafia, man. You guys would love it. They're the kind of guys that would. There's many times that if a guy went out, would pull his starter off his car to see you next round.
Mm-hmm. So we talked about it in the Shane interview where we used to hang out with them in the pits, and we saw that. They would well, not even the pits. It was in the campground where they pitted at.
Yeah,
and they would be swapping stuff around in there just to make the next race. I mean, they're awesome guys, and again, we're throwing ideas around trying to figure out a way of having a car we can make a few races throughout the year. That wouldn't be the big deal, and we could afford it. It's just a matter of finding something that's reasonable.
Yeah.
We don't want to go out there not looking cool. Yeah. So we got to find something cool. But it would be a lot of fun for sure.
Yeah, Joe Bridges and them guys, man, you don't get no better people. They're just great.
We love watching the YouTubes not YouTubes, the Facebooks for all the drama that they stir up. It is a good time.
Yeah.
Good time. All right, Chris. Well, we appreciate you coming on, and maybe we'll have you on when we work out the terms of this grudge race. You can go onto my YouTube channel there and then check it out. What I have ran, which isn't 551, it will this year, but I think it would be a fun grudge race. We'll figure out something.
We got 4 more too, so Corey, that we can pour at this dude.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I mean, you do you. I'll do me. All right.
I'm just funny with you. I'm just funny with you, man. Yeah.
No, we need a healthy rivalry here, Chris. Come on. I don't mind it. Let's go. So we'll figure out. Hey, I tell you. Let's do it towards the end of the year. Because I'll really pour the coals to it.
I didn't with everything I had going on last year. I didn't drive the car actually at all last year, so we're like excited to get it out again this year. And honestly, Corey, I'm pretty novice in the car, so beating me in the car now. Steve Cook, he poured the coals to it, but I'm still fairly novice in the car.
Maybe I reach out to Steve, have him come down. Because if I beat this car, it'll only feel right if it was at max effort. And I'm going to hang the rods out. I'm telling you, if we make it towards the end of the year, I will hang the rods out of my truck to try to beat that thing.
He will not be racing 2025 season.
We just made $2.34. We can afford this.
Yeah. We ought to hook up. That'd be a fun time.
Yeah, for sure. If nothing else, let's just go hang out sometime.
Sure.
We'll just have a good time and look at your cars, and we'll just hang out. Sure. One of the races that you're going to make, reach out to us. And if we're available, we'll run down to, Brownsboro is where you guys race quite a bit.
60. And stuff like that. Yeah.
Ohio Valley.
We race Ohio Valley, Edgewater, Bowling Green. I really try to take Blue to quarter-mile tracks if all possible. She's still a 56, guys. Let's keep that in, not that she's too fast to be down any, eighth-mile track. But what I'm trying to say is she's still still loose.
I tell you, Scott had a handle on it, but he was running eighth mile stuff. I don't think I've ever seen him run a quarter, but nonetheless, at least with 60, they extended the track last 2 years ago.
Yeah, the new owners done a really good with it.
I could barely slow down on my truck to make the turn off. So, you were at the time, I was going much slower than I am now. I couldn't imagine what it was to be like going, the mid fives. I mean, that at the time it was only like maybe an eighth, a little more than as a shutdown. So I'm glad they extended that, because that definitely helps a little faster cars out.
For sure.
All right, man, we'll work something out. We'll have you back on and we'll smack talk.
All right, sounds good.
All right, thanks for coming on, Chris.
Careful.
All right, buddy.
See you next.
See you, Chris.
Bye bye.
All right, Chris, thanks so much for that interview and the Blue Bayou 56 gasser.
Jelly.
Was it 56 or 55?
56.
I started over. Fuck.
It's all right. This is good conversation. We're not starting shit over.
I was looking at 56 on my computer screen. I was like, wait a minute.
It's 56.
Yeah, it is a 56 now. I remember that now.
Yeah. It's not like we just talked to him just a minute ago.
Yeah, I mean. Oh, there goes that heater again. All right.
It's loud enough.
Yeah, it's all good. Hey, one of the things that NHRA changed for rules this year is if you're going over 150 miles an hour, you're going to have to start using a Hans device.
Yeah. I made a quick video on the Blood Brothers channel.
Yeah, check it out, because if you have one of the older helmets, you have to attach it.
So the Snell 2015s, which they are good till 2027, they don't come with the anchors installed. So I showed how to drill it and put the anchors in and the whole process. If you have a Snell 2018, you're in luck. The anchors are already there.
That would be nice.
But you still have to install the anchor system of your Hans. And I describe how to do that and then adjust it as well. So there's the video is kind of for anybody that has to run Hans device. And if you're over 150 mile an hour, you got to run it. So make sure that you check that out if it's something you're confused about or have questions about. Yeah. It may be a video for you. We'll link it somewhere over here and in the description.
Actually on the Blood Brothers Racing YouTube channel, which is where Line Lock lives too.
Yep.
But after you posted that video, we actually had viewer mail on that one, and it was a simple question. Ron asked, he said, do you still have to wear the neck collar between the Hans and the helmet, or does the Hans replace all of that?
So it is my understanding that you do not have to wear the collar. Now, they do offer a collar that you can wear between the two, but it's much different than the collar that you'd wear without a Hans device. I think the collar that you'd have without the Hans device, I don't think it will fit. I think it's just too much mass.
I would think it would be too much mass.
The one that they sell with the Hans device is maybe more of like a comfort level thing, and it gives you a little bit of protection. A lot of them have skirts on them for fire protection as well. So you can absolutely do that if you need it. But you don't, as far as I'm aware, you do not have to have that neck collar. I don't have one, and I read the rules pretty strictly, and then I don't think you have to have
Someone
one.
also asked, I can't remember who it was, somebody did ask in one of the comments about, do you have to wear a head sock?
I have to wear one. I don't think I have to. Okay, so the head sock you have to wear if you have a modified firewall and you're running methanol. I wear it because I just like the added protection. And I recommend anybody that's running methanol in particular, because you can't see it burn in the daytime, to go ahead and throw one on. It's not that expensive, and most of those I don't have to recert either. I actually wear one from the firehouse. A style like the one from the firehouse, I should say. Yeah. And it's like it's an open face mask, which isn't actually what NHRA wants.
You should have a picture up here of it.
This one. Right? So what you really want is the one with just the eye holes, and there's a picture of that now too. So if you are going to get a sock, make sure you get the one with just the eye holes.
Don't be an eye hole.
Yeah, don't be an eye hole. Get the one with the eye holes.
All right, we had another email come in through the Line Locked podcast at gmail.com. And this is probably going to open up a can of worms. Larry said that he's currently building a 56 Chevy Gasser also. His is for bracket. He's currently running a 355 with a 671 blower on it, which we're very familiar with. Willing to change things as it is time for a refresh. What combo of parts has worked for you? Your YouTube channel is the best! Exclamation point.
Thank you, Larry. That's very nice of you. Yep. I tell you, I think that what you got there, 355, 671 is actually a pretty good combo to start. I think we've kind of exchanged some emails with him over the past few days, and because he was kind of interested in our setups more specific to what we have on the YouTube channel. And anybody that wants to ask us questions, feel free to fire it at us. LineLockedPodcast at gmail.com or the Blood Brothers Racing Team, Blood Brothers Race Team at gmail.com, either one of them. And we will reply with the best of our knowledge so we can try to set you in the right direction. But as far as I'm concerned, buddy, what I would think you should do is just kind of run what you got. And if it's not enough, then start changing the parts until you get there. But The good thing about a blower is it doesn't really care if your heads aren't the best or if you don't have the correct cam. Yeah, that's the whole point of positive displacement. Blower is it makes it. So I would kind of stick with what you got. The only thing that I would make sure you do if you don't already have a torque converter, call the guys up at Hughes and tell them what you got, and they can make you one. Or any of the bigger torque converter manufacturers. We're not sponsored by nobody, but we use Hughes ourselves. They can set you off. That's going to make the biggest difference in your program, that and rear gear choice. So depending on what kind of racing you're doing, you need to choose your rear gear. And if you want more specifics than that, give us another email and ask us tell us what you're doing, and we'll try to guide you in the right direction. But we'll tell you right now, with what your setup is, 411 is probably not the way to go in quarter mile. More than likely, you're probably going to be 456 neighborhood.
Yeah, the Nova that I drive is a 411, and it's actually a little too slow off the line, but it picks it way up on the end.
But what you're doing with 10.0, that's fine for you.
Yeah, because we're just index racing.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Do you have something else about that?
No. Just keep on keeping on, brother.
Well, next week we have a great guest.
Yes, Ryan Wing.
Yeah, and he's putting on a truck-only drag race in April, and it's going to be down in Arkansas. Is that right?
Arkansas.
And so we have him coming on next week, and you need to listen to that. If you have a truck, and you want to race, it's going to be a great time. If you like trucks and you like drag racing, head down there as a spectator, man. It's going to be awesome.
We'll have all the details in the description, but make sure you watch that podcast or listen to it, either or. We have a big announcement. We're gonna try to be involved as best as we can. So we are excited to maybe make that race. We're hoping.
We're hoping. Well, you, not me, but you.
Well, I'm gonna need help.
Yeah, well, I'll be going down with.
You're gonna wear your go-go boots and back me up.
That's right. The fishnet stockings and all that. Yes.
Well, I tell you, we got that Tacoma. We could bring it, and you could drive it in the stick shift class.
Yeah, that's true. Let's change it. It needs a head gasket, right?
Yeah. It only needs a head gasket to start. So if we drain all the water and start it, put water in it, it'll stay running. Okay. It'll stay running.
Just need to do a few rounds.
We just need to have enough fuel in it to just stay running. As soon as it shuts off, we have to drain the water in order to get started again. All right, cool, man. Well, that was a great podcast. Again, Chris, thank you very much for coming on. Make sure you stay tuned to next week. If you have a guest in mind, or if you want to come on the show yourself, make sure you email us, linelockedpodcast@gmail.com, and get with us. We want to have some guests. We want to talk to some people. It's been a lot of fun so far. We're already 16 episodes into this thing.
Yeah. So,
I mean, we're doing pretty good. We've got some good viewership. We've got some great fans. I want to call them fans. It sounds weird. We got some listeners. I don't know. I'm going to, you know what? I'm going to call them fans. Anyway, we really appreciate all the support you guys are giving us, all the discussion. Make sure you comment down below, like, subscribe. If you really like our content, make sure you share it, because that's the only way we're going to grow. Okay?
Yep, absolutely.
All right, you ready?
Let's do it.
All right. We're never going to get this right.
Maybe you should start it.
Well, we need to talk like, hum like but I'm Corey.
I'm Chris.
And we are line locked. No, it's terrible.
I did it. That was off. All right, guys. Have a good night.
We'll see you.